Hello and welcome to the United Stand. It's Saturday night. It is, as we did after the fantastic result against West Ham last week, we will be giving you the opportunity on the evening of Manchester United games from now on to call in and have your say, and we'll be doing that in a minute. But first of all, let me just bring you up to date on a few things. Unless you've had your head under a rock, don't advise you do that. Manchester United have won 4-0 today. Another fantastic performance. And to add the cherry on the cake, Martial came on and scored a fantastic goal. And to add the cherry on the cake to that, Mourinho lavished praise all over Martial at last and said that this lad is doing the things he wants him to do now, and the potential for him is huge. World-class potential. And I think, look, I love Mourinho. He's the right manager for Manchester United. I wouldn't swap him for anybody. But what I keep saying is, in relation to anybody who's perfect for Manchester United, whatever, you know, or anybody who's brilliant in life, it doesn't mean they don't make mistakes. I think Mourinho has made mistakes around certain players that I'm not going to name. I think he's made mistakes around Martial, and I and many other fans have been consistent about that. And I think Martial's going to prove him wrong. Martial is a fantastic player and probably our most exciting player, definitely our best flair player. That goal today looked very simplistic, but actually Thierry Henry, who was fantastic at those sort of goals, could not shut up after the game about how good that technique was, and how from the second he gets the ball, you know he's going to score, because he can go left, he can go right, and there's nothing they can do to stop him. Clinical, cynical, whatever you want to call it, absolutely superb from Martial, and good to see Mourinho finally accepting it. Because I think Mourinho at times this summer was thinking about getting rid of him. But away from that, that's the only mistake Mourinho's making at the moment. Special One is back, well and truly. 8 goal difference, non-conceded, 6 points. If you're not aware, Arsenal have just gone and dropped points tonight. They've lost to Stoke away. Liverpool dropped points last week and scraped 1-0 win over Crystal Palace. We effectively, you know, we're already, after 2 games, advantageous positions over so-called rivals. So very, very happy about what Manchester United are doing. And before I start taking some of your calls, because obviously I've given you my opinion on the game, I want to get your opinions. I did just want to show you this. Where am I? Where am I? You gotta have a bit of me on there as well. Where am I? Who am I? Here I am. Okay, so as you can see there, just a little bit of a tactics glimpse. I know we're starting to do this more and more, but I just wanted to do this today. This is what I want to give praise to Mourinho, because this is what Manchester United faced for most of the game today, and certainly for all of the first half, which is basically, if Bailly's got the ball here, you've got Swansea players very narrow, because Rashford, it was a weird formation today. So you've got your back 4 there. This is when we're on the ball, pretend the ball's with Bailly. We've got our back 4, we've got Matic, who we know is going to patrol these areas here. We've got Pogba, who's sort of a midfielder there, but he's also trying to get here. You've definitely got Mkhitaryan there. You've got Mata, who sort of likes to come inside, is sort of in there. But then Rashford really wasn't this position. It really wasn't the 4-2-3-1. It was like an imbalanced 4-2. Mata's in the 1, but Rashford's sort of playing the left side, but very advanced, and Mkhitaryan's there. So, you know, Blind had a lot of work to do. I think what United needed to do, and what Mourinho knows he wants to do, because he wants to get that left wing back in to give us some width, because Valencia will run up and down here all day. I think he had the most touches on the ball. I mean, did you notice Valencia today? Other than the fact that he was just consistently good, did you notice a lot of Valencia today? No, because he just does what you expect. You know, he's going to give you a 7 out of 10 performance every week. Fantastic from Valencia. But Daley Blind deserves a lot of credit, because he did have a lot to do down that side, with Rashford playing very high. But I felt that most of the first half, we were fortuitous in a way to go in 1-0. We weren't fortuitous because we deserved the goal, but what we kept trying to do is we'd get balls here, we'd knock it into Rashford or Mkhitaryan, there'd be nice little first touches, but we couldn't get that final ball to break through, because this area here, Swansea were just absolutely camping the bus. And I think what we needed to do a little bit more, which we didn't do, get the ball here and put some crosses into the box for Lukaku, for Pogba, even for Matic. Get some crosses into the box. We didn't do that enough. And threading it through the middle, we tried to do that all game in the first half, and it was very, very, very difficult. So the only sort of tactical thing I looked at throughout that game today, and I've took notes because obviously I want to start bringing it into the show after, was just get down the width a little bit more, especially this width here. Because Daley Blind's got a lovely shot, a lovely cross on him, and we didn't do it enough in that first half. But I'm nitpicking. We won 4-0, and that was absolutely fantastic. And I think what you saw in the second half, if I can just change this a bit. So in the second half, Swansea having to, you know, basically they were going 2 for 2 at times. They were pushing forward. They're trying to get into the game. We didn't really change a hell of a lot. We got this like this. But what it allowed, because they were pushing further forward, we got a lot of this. I got a lot of this position here where Mkhitaryan is able to pick the ball up and look at these options. And you've got Mata going there. You've got Rashford there. You've got Lukaku running. He's actually offside there, but you know what I mean. And Pogba bombing forward. And then we got 3 goals in 4 minutes because they had to come at us. And that's it. The hard work that I really appreciated from Manchester United today was definitely done in the first half in getting 1-0 ahead. And that's why I gave Eric Bailly the man of the match, because the most important goal was that first one. If you don't get the first goal, you don't get the second, third and fourth, and that's very obvious. But the game played into our hands with that 1-0 lead, because at some point, Swansea still parked the bus for about 25 minutes of the second half. But then they had to. They're the home team. They've got to come at us a bit. And the minute they came at us, we got Martial on, and we closed the midfield off physically by bringing Fellaini on. They were in trouble because we were then very, very clinical. When we got the chances, we killed them off. Brilliant finish by Pogba. Lukaku, really one chance, one goal game for Lukaku, which is exactly what he's there to do. And Martial's goal was just absolutely perfect. Really, really, really pleased with that. Anyway, let me take some of your calls. Let me take some of your comments. A few people on about Arsenal Fan TV and chill. Well, I'm sure we'll all be doing that later. But what we will definitely be doing is watching another match. You know, I'm going to start chalking these off. 2 in a row match of the days. I mean, that's been quite rare. That has been quite rare for me over the last few years. I've got to be honest. 2 Saturday night match of the days and enjoying it. Yeah, really enjoying it. Right, so Skype Goldbridge is the name. Skype Goldbridge, all one word on Skype. I want your opinions. Good, bad, passionate, whatever. Let's get on it. Mano Man says that his dad's a better manager than Jose Mourinho. Well, I think Jose Mourinho is exceptional at the moment, and the special one is certainly back. Right, I've clicked somebody. Hopefully we've got a caller on the line. Andy, can you hear me?
Hi Mark, how are you doing?
I'm good, thanks. You?
Yeah, not so bad. Just another brilliant result, wasn't it, today?
Absolutely brilliant. I mean, on the watch along today, I was going to be very happy with 1-0, but I think the one thing I would say from the first 2 games from Manchester United so far is cherry on the cake. We're getting the cherries on the cake every week. I know there's only been 2, but we are getting cherries on the cake. And like Mourinho says, it's like a motorway. We're just getting away with driving at 80 and it's clear running ahead of us. He says there will be potholes and traffic jams ahead, but at the moment we are getting the run. And I think we've just got to sit back and enjoy it.
Exactly. I mean, three goals in the space of, what was it, 4 minutes? Absolutely crazy. I was going to believe.
I'll tell you what, Andy, I couldn't type quick enough. I have to update the scores on the watch along, and it was ridiculous. I did see all the goals, which is the main thing, but this is what it's all about. I think I don't know about. I mean, who really? It's a difficult question, this, and it's the perfect. I love this question because we've had it for 2 weeks now. Who was your standout player or players today?
I think Bailly, again, like last week, he was absolutely brilliant. Didn't put a foot wrong. Even Phil Jones again, he was brilliant. It is a difficult one. Mkhitaryan, he had a quiet game, but I mean 2 assists for him. I'd probably say Bailly, to be honest. Martial, obviously, but he only came on for sort of the last 10 minutes, didn't he? So, I mean, if he doesn't start next week, then I'm not sure what he has to do, to be honest with you.
You know what? In a funny way, I think it'd be quite funny if Martial doesn't start next week, because I still think he'll come on and score a goal. I don't want him to become Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, who was the best substitute probably in my lifetime. Martial should start games. I mean, let's develop that as a conversation point, because it's one that I think it's the only debate point that anyone's really got about United at the moment, apart from maybe Herrera. But Martial, Rashford, where do you sit on that?
If I was thinking about this today, if Mourinho insists on playing this 4-2-3-1, which I think he likes, especially away from home, I'd quite like to see maybe the problem is though, Pogba at sitting midfield. I think he's wasted there. But if Mourinho insists on that, I'd quite like to see maybe a midfield. So the two sitting midfielders, Matic, Pogba, and then maybe Rashford on the sort of right, Mkhitaryan in the middle, Martial on the left, and Lukaku up front. If that's the formation he insists on playing, I'm sort of agree with you. I'd like to see us try a three back, and maybe have Lukaku and Rashford up front, maybe Martial on the left. But it is a difficult one. But I know Mourinho loves that 4-2-3-1, gives him a lot of solidity. But you're wasting Pogba in that sitting midfield role. You really are. That's where I stand.
Yeah, I mean, there is a formation I mentioned on the watch along today, and I just think it's very encouraging because Mourinho said yesterday that he was looking for a left-sided player who could do the left wing-back role that Valencia would do in a 3-5-2. I think he wants to play that. Whether we'll see it or not, I don't know. I have enjoyed the formation of the last two games. Obviously, who wouldn't? But there was a formation today that actually, again, I'm nitpicking, but the first half was a battle, and Swansea had the best chance of the half, apart from our goal, in the first 5 minutes. I mean, it was a good play. It was a bit of luck. Bay tried to kick it out. It went off their player. They ran down the left. Lovely outside cross with the outside of the foot, and inches away from making it 1-0. It was quite an equal half. It was a battle. Bit like West Ham in the first 20 minutes last week. But I think I have to praise Mourinho because he, playing Mata and Mkhitaryan is an attacking move. I wouldn't have been surprised today if he chucked Herrera in there and had Mata, Herrera and Pogba as a midfield three to give us a little bit more in the midfield, and then play Lukaku with one either side of him, maybe Mkhitaryan and Rashford. I think maybe we should have done that in the first half because I think it was a little bit uncomfortable, but you've got to praise the fact that he played a little bit more attacking. However, what I would like to see is if we do play the Herrera, Matic, Pogba midfield three, I'd put Lukaku up front, I'd put Martial on the left and Rashford on the right. I don't see why we don't do that.
Exactly, yeah.
It doesn't give us many options off the bench because who's your explosive flair player off the bench? And I do quite like the fact that if you play Rashford for 70 minutes and give Martial 20, they come on against a tiring team. You could do it the other way round. I'd like to see him do that against Leicester, but with Martial at the moment, I just think he can't put a foot wrong, and I think if you could combine Martial and Rashford, you've got the perfect player. But I think they're both young enough that they can both push each other on. Rashford, I mean, you saw that chance today. It was very Danny Welbeck-esque.
Yeah, for sure.
But Rashford, he's 19 years of age. If he sorts out his finishing, I mean, Martial's a brilliant finisher. He is absolutely brilliant, and as is Lukaku. To be fair, one chance, one goal.
Yeah, that's the thing about Rashford. He's such a raw talent. He's got so many years ahead of him, and he'll improve his finishing. Of course he will, especially under Mourinho.
Kazadis just asked a question, which I'll throw to you, Andy. He says, do you think we need another signing before the end of the transfer window, which is about 12 days away?
Yeah, definitely. I think, to be honest, I'd quite like to see another midfielder come in, but I think definitely a winger, just like saying squad depth, because I don't think. Well, Lingard is a good squad player, but he shouldn't really be starting games. To be honest, I haven't really seen much of Perisic. I know you quite like Perisic. I've never really watched him though, to be honest with you. I can't really think of many wingers out there that are available though. Apart from the likes of Perisic, Dembele's going to Barca for a ridiculous price. I can't really think of many wingers out there.
No, I think you've got Perisic, maybe Draxler, maybe Lamar, but Mourinho, I think Perisic is so perfect because he's hard working and he probably could play as a left wing back. I don't think Lamar can. I don't think Draxler can. I think they're more exclusively attacking. But thanks for opening up the show for us, Andy, and please do call in again.
Yeah, I will do. Cheers, Mark.
Thanks, pal. What I would say as well is, I said it on the watch along. What I'm enjoying, I mean, there's multiple things to enjoy being a Manchester United fan at the moment, but what I'm really enjoying is the fact that Manchester United really wanted Mbappe, and the rumours came out that Mbappe didn't want to come to United because we play boring football. Stick that on your pipe and smoke it, Killian, because Manchester United are playing some fantastic football at the moment. And I think the great thing is, and this was on the watch along again, there was a really good comment in the first half. The difference with United this season is the amount of 50-50 balls and second balls we're winning. So just for anybody who doesn't know what a second ball is, when a cross comes in, a header gets cleared, or a tackle goes in, it's winning the ball when it's sort of loose, the second ball, but we're winning the 50-50s as well. We are turning this. The reason I called this, I didn't call it this, I put it on the thumbnail, the special one is back, because I'm starting to see similarities between the Mourinho who first came to the Premier League all the way back in 2000, and was it the mid 2000s, and United had seen off the fight of Arsenal. They'd never win a title again, and we thought we had the kingdom there to rule, and Chelsea came in with Mourinho, and every week they were going to places like Wolves with Robben and Duff, and they were just blasting them 4-0. I remember them beating a few teams 4-0 at the start of the season, and it continued consistently. Clean sheets, lots of goals. I mean, we're only 2 games in, but we've got 2 clean sheets and lots of goals. This is the prototype Mourinho that we've seen over 2 games. I hope we can just keep it up, because as he said in his press conference, very interesting, he said there was no need to shut the door. I had total confidence that we were going to kill them off. And he knows, last season he was shutting the door. When I say shutting the door, 1-0 up, let's shut the door. He didn't want to shut the door today away to Swansea. He wanted to go for them. And that's what we want to see from United. Fantastic. Really, really pleased. There's always room for improvement. And I do agree with some people that saying there, do we need a transfer? I'd like some people to come on and give us their thoughts on that, actually. Do we need a transfer or not? I think if you spoke to most people at half-time, they might have said yes. Andrew, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
How you doing, pal?
Yeah, well, how are you, mate?
Yeah, good. Well, what do you want to talk about? Anything in particular, or do you want me to throw a couple of things to you?
Well, I mean, yeah, by all means, throw a couple of things, but I just would like to say that pretty much the same as everybody else has said, really, but sort of the Martial issue, I would like to see him start. I would like to see us adopt a 3-5-2 and Martial play as a strike partner to Lukaku. Because when you look at the goals he scored this season, yeah, you can skin a man on the wing and put a ball in, but he's come from central position and he's made those little runs, and he's broke through and he's put a good finish in. So I'd like to see him through the centre as a striker.
Yeah, I wouldn't disagree with you there. He's coming. The thing about Martial is, I know a lot of people want him to start, but starting a game is different to coming on in the last 10 minutes of a game. The game wasn't won. I think the difference this week is, and I'll ask you this as well, is would you have changed the team? It's hard to ask it after the result we've just had, but after the West Ham game, if you can some sort of glimpse back into last week, were you thinking we need to change the team? Because some people were. I personally said don't change a winning team, as much as I love Martial. Were you one of those who would have changed the winning team, or were you happy with it?
After last week, the result against West Ham, I was all for staying with the same team, starting Rashford, and yeah, exactly the same team. However, I wasn't that impressed with Rashford today. He's a young lad, so he's not going to be the most consistent. But I thought there was times when he could have just played a simple pass, but he looked for the run. And I think he'll learn in time to know when to run and when to pass. But he seemed to get his head down and always look to run. And I thought he made himself a little bit predictable. But as you say, after the fact, it's hard to say which would have been better to start, Martial or Rashford. But I'd like to see Martial, on the merit of the 2 games that he's had, play well. Just given a run of games, Jose say, look, you've performed well. Have a run of games. Let's see what you can do.
I've got to say, I mean, I'm on a bit of a run myself at the moment in relation to sort of predictions and things. I did say, if you fancy an outside bet, get your money on Bailly. I think it was his first goal for United today, but he scored.
Yeah.
So I was right on that. I did say at the start of the season, in the summer, that Martial is a brilliant player. He just needs the right sort of arm around the shoulder, and what he needs is what you've just said there, is 10 games. He needs to be given 10 games You've earned that chance. I'm not going to mess you out about. If you had about 45 minutes, I'm still going to pick you the next game. Much like he did for Lingard last year. He consistently gave Lingard a chance. He's got to give Martial a chance. And I think you're right there. He's only had about 20 minutes or half an hour in 2 games, and he's got 2 goals and an assist, and been absolutely clinical. So maybe next week is the time for him. And I think the big difference is, and what I was getting at with would you have changed it, is I wouldn't have changed it this week, because the team that won the game last week, the game was won when the substitutions were made. The difference this week is the game wasn't won when we brought Martial and Fellaini on. It was 1-0. It could have, Swansea were putting some decent crosses into the box without really getting on the end of them. And it was at that sort of point where if we didn't try and do something offensively and started moving back and back towards our goal, Swansea were going to start putting crosses in there, and you never know what's going to happen. But Martial and then Pogba drove through, and obviously Mkhitaryan and Lukaku. We went and won the game, but Martial was a big influence on us winning the game. So I think he's got a good chance of starting against Leicester, and I would seriously consider him. Maybe I wouldn't have done him midweek, even though he did well against West Ham. But going back to Rashford, because there's a lot of people in the live comments like you saying wasn't impressed with Rashford today. I've got to be honest with my opinion. I think Rashford played very well today, but I've been very consistent about Rashford. He's my favourite player at United because he's a flair player, and he's up there with Martial. And I think it's interesting that they're basically battling each other at the moment for one spot.
Yeah, it is.
It's hard.
Yeah.
It's hard to pick the two. But what defined Rashford today, and when we watch it back on Match of the Day, if you didn't see it, was the chance in the first half when it was 0-0 and he's put through 1-on-1, and he tries to chip a keeper, and the keeper just, is like catching a balloon. It was just easy.
Yeah.
He's got to...
Well, I agree.
Go on.
Sorry, I was going to say I agree with you, and I thought today that was the difference, and it has been the difference for a while. Is that in front of goal, Martial seems to have this very cold, clinical, almost that great white shark, dead look in the eyes, and he's cool in front of goal. Whereas I find sometimes Rashford, he's a bit sort of all over the place. As much as I love, it sounds like I'm hating on him. I'm not. I love the bloke. He's a great player, and he will be a great player, no doubts. But I love that clinicalness of Martial, and I think on merit he should be given a bit of a run. But it's good to have that competition in that position because it keeps them both on their toes, and they know that they have to perform in order to win a place in the squad.
The funny thing is, if they played for different clubs in the Premier League, we'd be on here tonight saying Marcus Rashford needs to be more like Anthony Martial at Arsenal. Look what he did today with that finish. The brilliance is we've got them both at the same club, and they train with each other every day. And Rashford's 19. And I think Rashford just needs to watch what Martial does in front of goal, because if he gets that as part of his game, I think Rashford's a brilliant player. I thought today at times some of the things he did were brilliant, but he will be judged on his final ball, and that chance one-on-one in a game like that where we're grafting hard away from home and the team's got so many men behind the ball. When you get a one-on-one like that, he's got to put it away, and I think Lukaku would have put it away. I think Martial would have put it away. And Rashford's got to be putting those away. That's my only thing with Rashford. But it's much like Lukaku's. I thought Lukaku today, brilliant goal. He got the second goal as well, so he killed the game off. One chance really for him and a goal. That's what his price tag's all about.
Yeah.
But I thought his build-up play was atrocious at times. Some of his passing was bad. The ball didn't stick a few times. But I'm not worried about it. Much the same, I'm not worried about Rashford's finishing, because I think much like Rashford's finishing, Lukaku will improve playing with better players.
No doubt. And like you say, Rashford, it will come in time. I've got no doubt that he'll be a top quality player. And what a lovely situation to be in, that the sort of the most stressful thing, if you can call it that, to debate is that we've got these two fantastic impact players, and which one do we start? It's a great time to be a United fan. It's a good predicament to have.
I agree. Thanks for calling, Andrew, and please do call in
mate.
again.
Great show. Cheers, mate. Bye-bye.
Cheers, pal. And we said this last week. I'm really enjoying doing this show. Sort of stumbled on it last week that we're going to do this, and we'll do it again. It'll be better next week as well because it's a 5:30 kickoff. So we'll pretty much be going live at 8 o'clock with your reactions. But we want to do this throughout the season. So at 8 o'clock on the night of a game, we will go live and you can all call in. But I just think I said it after the West Ham game, and that was one game. Say it after this Swansea game, after 2 games. It's always good to deal with issues in a position of strength. You look at Chelsea when they got beat by Burnley last week, they're panicking. We've just dropped 3 points that we would expect to get. Let's get in that transfer window and try sort things out. We've got Spurs away. Spurs are a good side. You know, they're panic. I think United in this position of a perfect start. I don't think that, you know, there isn't really a better start we could have had to this season. And to have a 100% start is amazing. And when I say that, we've got 8 goals in 2 games, which, yeah, you could be greedy and say I wish we'd won 6-0 both games. But in realistic terms, 8 goals in 2 games is amazing. 2 clean sheets is fantastic. Team performances, so many people vying for man of the match. Substitutes coming on with flawless performances like Martial. Lindelof, new signing, can't even get in the team at the moment. Herrera, one of our players of the season, can't get in the team at the moment. Pereira, I think is ready, can't even get on the bench at the moment. I still think we should sign someone in the next 10 days. Still got Luke Shaw to come back. I mean, it is the perfect start to the season. But this is Mourinho. This is the brilliance of Mourinho. We've seen what Mourinho's done with his back to the wall last season, where things aren't going well, and he still grinds out Champions League football and a trophy we've never won in the Europa League. He still does that. You watch Mourinho when it's perfect, it's flawless, the cherries are being put on the cake every week. You watch what he does. He doesn't sit back. He's not like Klopp would be. Look at me, flashing his gummy teeth that he needs replacing. Mourinho will be as focused as he would as if we'd lost 1-0 today. He will be looking, he'll be speaking to Woodward saying, can you get me that transfer? He'll be looking around his squad at where he needs to improve things. And I think that is exactly what we should do. We should be in exactly the same mindset that we would be if we'd lost the game today. Looking at where things didn't quite work and building on that for future games. So I think today went sort of the wrong way in the last few minutes. I was really pleased that we were going to grind out a result 1-0 because Xander was on the watch along in the second half saying, oh, I want United to win well every week. And I was saying, look, we can't win every game 4-0. What we do need to do is go to places like Swansea when things aren't going our way and still come away with 1-0 wins and grind it out. So I was quite happy that we were going to grind it out and then we win 4-0. But we will have to grind it out. And I think in some ways today was a bit of a grind out result. We just absolutely finished them off in the last few minutes. Do get Skyping in, Skype Goldbridge, all one word, and give us your thoughts on the game. Keenan, can you hear me?
Hi, Mark.
Hi, pal. Just before I come to you, I've just realised we've had a super chat, so I just want to read that out and then we'll get you on. So, Darian Jones, thanks Darian for the contribution. He says, the unsung hero for me was Phil Jones. He looks trimmer and hopefully can stay fit as he is my choice over Smalling. Great seeing United finish strong like United of old. Just very quickly, Darian, thanks for the contribution on that. I thought Chris Smalling was fantastic in pre-season. I also think you're spot on about Phil Jones. Eric Bay was my man of the match. Lindelof's a new signing. We're spoilt for choice at centre-back and Rojo's back at Christmas. You know, again, just another area of the pitch where we have got no concerns at the moment. So much to be positive about. All I would say is enjoy being a United fan. We've had 4 years, I think, that's been very up and down, a lot down. At the moment, it's good. Don't feel guilty for enjoying it. So, what do you want to talk about, Keenan?
I just want to say it was a really good performance today, once again. And, you know, I think we're doing really well. I think the left-hand side, I'm considering whether we actually need another left winger. As in terms of, we might need a left wing back and we are going to resort to the 3-5-2. But I'd like to see Martial get given the whole season in the starting lineup, with Rashford maybe as backup if he's not backup for Lukaku, because I think he can perform. Martial could get 15 Premier League goals this season. I won't put it past him to do that, because we've got the creativity now. So I'm not sure we need a left winger, because he was great today again. So what I was thinking, maybe a right winger, such as, because if you think about it, our only really right winger that we've got, apart from Mkhitaryan, who I don't really want him out on the wide because I think he's more effective in the middle. I think our best option out wide is probably Juan Mata on the right hand side. But the problem with him is that if we're going to use Martial and Mata, they're both inside forward, so they're going to get in the middle more. They're going to become more narrow. I think Lukaku is fantastic at heading, so we should get someone that can whip the ball in. Valencia can do that, but I think a couple of times he does get there's not much on down the right hand side, so there's not much overlaps on. So we just tend to pass in the middle whenever there's something on, which is something that became accustomed to when he was with Louis van Gaal. So I think what could happen is that we might need someone like can whip a ball in, that comes maybe not like drops us like get Valencia to run down to the byline, but someone like is good at like a bit like a David Beckham kind of player. So someone James Ward-Prowse from Southampton, who's not very fast, but he can whip a ball in straight onto Lukaku's head, and they could be. And we're deadly with crosses, aren't we? Like we saw today with the set pieces. We've got so much height now that I think we need someone that can whip the ball in. I don't know what you think about that, but
I think spot on. Me and Ross were talking about this at half time on the watch along that last couple of years you get a corner and it's always the chance to go and go to the toilet, or I used to say just give them a goal kick, we're not going to score. But actually a lot has changed this summer. Mourinho, again, most of the teams that Mourinho's managed have always been good off corners. I mean, John Terry was the prime example at Chelsea, Carvalho as well. They're good. Ivanovic, very good at crosses. And things have changed over the summer because we've got Lukaku now, which, you know, Zlatan was big as well, but he never really seemed to get many. But I think Daley Blind, that goal that we scored, the quality of the cross is good. It's bad marking on Pogba, but Pogba's tall, Lukaku's tall, Matic is tall. Obviously, Bailly is tall, so we've got options, and I think that's another string to our bow, which is really encouraging. I totally agree with you. I think the only thing tactically, and I was talking about it in the first few minutes, that I had a problem with today was that we were trying to go down the middle with intricate passing, and it was too easy for Swansea. I think we needed to get down the flank and just put some crosses in, but that's easier said than done when, you know, Blind's not particularly quick, so you've got to work him into a position where he can put a cross in, which isn't always easy. Valencia is quick, but he can't put a cross in to save his life. So I wouldn't disagree with you that if we're not going to go with the 3-5-2 with a wing back, I don't think Martial can be the left wing back. Then yeah, get Martial on the left and let's get a winger. You know, a two-footed winger would be nice. Somebody who could just go and play on the right and put a cross in. But the right side of our has been our strong point for the last couple of years, but it's not been the strong point in relation to crosses. We had a 6'5" striker last season, and we didn't put anywhere near enough crosses to take advantage of that. And Lukaku, again, he'd love to get on the end of crosses. I saw Barkley putting a few in for him last year, and he'll go after them. We just don't have it at the moment. And you know, Mata, I love Mata, but he can't put a natural right cross in. He'll always cut inside, which is easier to defend. Yeah,
I totally agree with that. I think we've always had a really strong right hand side with a really an attacking fullback, such as Gary Neville, things like that, and Rafael even. And I think we've got that in Valencia, but Valencia's what is he 32 now? I think he is. He's getting on a bit. So what I think we need is he'll like bomb down the right every time still. But we still need someone that can whip a ball in, because Valencia he's not a great crosser, is he really? And I think the problem with last season was that Zlatan, he was dropping too deep sometimes, that we couldn't actually physically get a cross into him, because he was a bit like a false nine, but he wasn't a false nine. I'll disagree with that, what I just said, but I just think we've got Lukaku now, who is a poacher. He's a natural poacher, or banging 25 goals, always like on the last shoulder. And I think we could do it. Like, we get a good crosser, and I think it's a shame we lose Dembele, because he's one of the most two-footed players in the world. And to see him go to Barcelona, if he is going to go, which I think he is, for 80 million, it's a shame, because we missed out on a real player. He could play on both wings, and he's a good cross from the ball as well. So I think he's 21. It's a shame that we've missed out on him. But overall, I think we're good at the moment. We still need maybe one or two more signings though. But apart from that, it's a good performance today.
I totally agree. Thanks for calling in, Keenan, and please do call in again.
Cheers, Matt. Yeah.
Cheers, pal. Thank you.
Thanks.
A few people are saying that we got shouted out. I was just having a look there. We got shouted out on BT Sports for our tweet about Twitter. I can't find the tweet, so if anybody knows what the tweet is about Pogba, I can't find it on our timeline. David Carey says, and thanks for the contribution, David. He says, "Hi Mark, nobody needs to panic about Rashford. Yeah, he might need 3 chances to score 1, but so did Cole, and look at his record." I agree with that, David, but the problem is, away from home against Swansea, when it's a tight game and you get a one-on-one chance, if we'd drawn that game today because we didn't get another chance as good, he's got to score them chances. Andy Cole, I agree with you, but we were creating maybe 15 chances a game, so it doesn't matter. At the moment, we're not creating 15 chances a game. there wasn't that many chances in the game until we got the 3 late on. Before that, it was slim pickings, and Rashford needs to improve on that. I do agree with everybody else. He's got to be more clinical, because we are a team that over the last few years hasn't created loads of chances, apart from the loads we missed last season. So maybe that's a bit contradictory, but you know what I mean. I think he's got to be clinical. I don't think we can hide behind the fact that maybe he'll score, 1 in 3. We might not get 3 good chances in a game. Andy Cole did used to get a lot of chances because we were a much better team then. Marcus Steed made... Mad Marcus, called him Marcus Steed. Mad Marcus says, hello Goldie, can you hear me? 100% agree. I think he's having a pop at a bit of banter with Xander there, but thanks Marcus. Richard Stainer says, would a new addition disrupt the team chemistry? Rashford did well today, but Martial should be rewarded with a start. Thanks for that, Richard. Would a new signing disrupt the team? Jonathan Barrera says, hey Mark, please answer my call. I have a couple of points to touch. Thanks for the contribution, Jonathan. I'm just about to click you now. Jonathan, I'm just reading your super chat. You're on the United stand. What do you want to talk about?
Hey Mark, I got a couple points. One is, well, the one that everybody's been touching is that we should bench Mata and play Rashford during the right side. I remember during preseason, Rashford was a headache for them during that side, and they just couldn't stop him.
So you would, I mean, yeah, you could put Rashford on the right. Would that mean Martial starting on the left?
That would.
So what would you do? Would you do that as a 4-3-3, or would you still put Mkhitaryan in the middle and Lukaku at front and just play Pogba and Matic as a midfield too?
I think we would have to play Mkhitaryan down the middle just to kind of clean up everything that Lukaku can't get.
It's interesting. It's certainly something we could try at home to Leicester next week, because we don't need to worry too much defensively.